Hello, YouTubers and Patreoners. My name is Brett Baker. I am the author of the Free Worlds Chronicles, and I have a new book series coming out soon called Song of the Multiverse. And today, I am going to be talking to you about one of my favorite subjects, Avengers movies. So, there's a lot of speculation and talk going on right now with the impending Avengers Infinity War movie coming out, about who's going to survive and who's going to be on the Avengers after Infinity War and its unnamed sequel are done and Marvel moves into Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There is a very likely theory that all you have to do to figure out who's going to be on the Avengers is to look at who has their movies going right now, their character movies. So you would likely have a team that would consist of Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then a sixth member. There's speculation about Moon Knight, there's speculation about Captain America sticking around. Chris Evans playing Captain America, sticking around for more movies. And while he has made rumblings about wanting to direct and do other things, Chris Evans has not actually ruled it out. In fact, he has at one point said he would be willing to do more movies and it would be up to Marvel. So I personally would hope that it is Captain America. I've been a longtime Captain America fan since I was 6 years old and picked up my first issue and read it. Cap tries to save the Red Skull from falling off a cliff to his death. It seemed like the Red Skull was dying in pretty much every issue that he was in, but that's the Red Skull for you. So I think that while you certainly could have Sam Wilson or Bucky Barnes as Captain America, both have been done in the comics, it's really usually only kind of a temporary measure. It's not the same if it's not Steve Rogers. So, and really traditionally, you need to have one of the big three as an Avenger for it to really kind of be an Avengers team. At almost every point in the Avengers history, you've either had Thor, Iron Man, or Captain America with the team. So I think you really need to have one of those big three from the original team stick around. And personally, I hope it's Cap. So next, we are going to be talking about what villains Marvel can still even use for the Avengers, because they've killed off Ultron, although Ultron is Ultron. So you can kill off all of his drones, but that doesn't mean that Ultron is dead. He could upload his consciousness to some server somewhere and just hang out for a while and then reappear. There really aren't a lot of good Avengers villains that they can use, really, in the wake of Thanos. Thanos is a universe-shaking villain, and to keep those stakes, you would likely have to use Galactus. But, of course, Marvel can't use Galactus because Galactus is owned by Fox. Also owned by Fox are Doctor Doom and Kang the Conqueror. While Doctor Doom is an excellent Avengers villain, I think it's pretty unlikely that you're going to see him in an Avengers movie when Fox, who owns the rights, still hasn't figured out how to successfully even launch Doctor Doom. So Kang the Conqueror is just as unlikely. The reason for this is because Kang the Conqueror's secret identity is actually Franklin Richards, the son of Reed and Sue Richards, who uses recovered tech created by Victor Von Doom to go into the future and conquer it. You can't really use Franklin Richards without first introducing Reed and Sue Richards into the MCU. Because then having him be Franklin Richards it loses its emotional impact. So I think Franklin Richards is also just as unlikely. Loki will still be around, probably Tom Hiddleston. Hopefully he will return to his evil ways and plague the Avengers some more in another movie at some point in the future. Then, of course, Baron Zemo, he survived Civil War. And I would personally love to see him put on his purple sock mask and take out his fencing saber and fight Captain America. It's likely that he will return to plague the Avengers either as a solo villain or as the head of the Masters of Evil. Likely members of the Masters of Evil to fight alongside Zemo. Well, you have Doctor Strange, so you could bring in Mordo. You could bring Ultron back from the dead. He actually was the leader of an incarnation of the Masters of Evil. You could bring in some Kree or Skrull villain. I don't know how likely you would be able to use Ronan the Accuser, who was kind of the preeminent Kree villain in the Fantastic Four. But you could always do that, and you would likely need to, since you're going to have Captain Marvel on the team. Ulysses Klaue, if he survives Black Panther, would be a good candidate. He was a member of the Masters of Evil in the past, and if you were to bring Yellow Jacket back from the dead from Ant-Man and Wasp, well, then you've got an entire team of foils for pretty much every member from the Avengers, or from that new Avenger team, rather. Another villain possibility is the Red Skull. So the Red Skull is a long-time Captain America and a long-time Avengers villain. He would regularly create some kind of giant walking bot that would threaten to flatten Washington D.C. And the Avengers would have to stop that scheme. In the past, Hugo Weaving has said he doesn't want to play him. He said the mask is hot and uncomfortable, but more recently, he has said that he would possibly be willing. So it sounds like with Chris Evans, just like with Chris Evans, it's a matter of money. If, for instance, I think Marvel were to throw Robert Downey Jr. money at Chris Evans, I think he'd stick around. I think if they were to, throw more money at Hugo Weaving, from the sounds of what I've read, he might reprise his role as well. Let's see, Iron Patriot. So at the end of the Civil War storyline, Norman Osborn, a Spider-Man villain, actually uses Tony Stark's tech to discredit the heroes and all of them basically, and take over the United States government. So that would be a very Avengers-like storyline. However, I think that the Iron Patriot is unlikely, at least for now, because Norman Osborn hasn't even been introduced yet as the Green Goblin. The Mandarin. So the real Mandarin, not the one played by Ben Kingsley in Iron Man 3, is alluded to in the original Iron Man movie. The terrorist group's name is the Ten Rings, and as everybody knows, the Mandarin has 10 rings. So you could bring in a real Mandarin, get somebody like Chow Yun-fat to play him. Basically, he'd be playing the same character he was playing in the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which I think would be awesome as the Mandarin. However, if you don't have Iron Man around, there's really no point to using the Mandarin. And it's the same with the Red Skull. If you don't have Captain America around, there's no point to using the Red Skull. Hydra Cap. So... in the Secret Empire storyline that just concluded, they made Captain America a Hydra villain, and it was very hostilely received by the fans, and I myself was not very receptive to this idea. Anything that takes Captain America and sort of removes him from his moral high ground as a representation of America, an iconic representation of America, really degrades the character, I think. And given the backlash that we're seeing now to that comic storyline, I think it's fairly unlikely that they will use him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Dormammu. So Doctor Strange came to bargain in his movie with Dormammu and defeated him. Dormammu did promise to leave the Earth and never come back. But Dr. Faustus can tell you anytime that you make a deal with the devil, he honors the letter of the agreement and not the spirit of it. So Dormammu could be working through minions to interfere in Earth's affairs, and they have to go into the Dark Dimension to stop him. I think it's fairly likely that we will see Dormammu as a Marvel villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And finally, Mephisto. I think Mephisto is very unlikely. The reason for this is because he is so drawn from the devil that I think religious conservatives would boycott, and I don't think that Marvel Studios wants that. So just to recap, the likely villains that we have for Phase 4 of the Marvel Universe, according to me, these are all just my thoughts, are Loki, assuming that Tom Hiddleston sticks around and reprises his role as Loki. Simo and the Masters of and possibly the Masters of Evil. The Kree and the Skrulls. And Dormammu. Personally, I would love to see a few other villains, but I think those are the most likely ones that we will see based on what the Marvel Universe has established. So what are your thoughts? If you have any thoughts or comments you'd like to share, please do share them in the comments below. Also, my first two books, The Initiate's Crucible and Masters of Oceania, part of the Free Worlds Chronicles, are available now. If you would like more information on that, you can visit www.brettbaker.ws. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like to support this channel, you can do so on Patreon. The link is below the video. All right, well, this has been Brett Baker, and until next time, I am signing off.